For me in 2025 there has been a massive change in the driver market. If you're looking for a new driver, there is a lot more affordable options. If we talk about the likes of Tour Edge, if we talk about Tacoma, if we talk about 11, and we do have another one we're testing today, but this Tour Edge driver was ranked #1 by Golf Spy for accuracy. So the big question is, are drivers too expensive? Should you be able to get a more affordable driver to perform? The answer was this, or the answer with this driver was yes, because it did rank above the rest for accuracy of keeping your ball a little bit straighter, not maybe losing as many golf balls even, so getting your scores down. And this is the Tour Edge E725. Coming in at £379, so a very affordable price, £200 cheaper than your Callaways, your TaylorMades, your Pings, your PXGs, and many other brands that we know of. But like we say, performed exceptionally well, but this is where I think there's a brand new market when it comes to drivers. Because even a mistry like that is going to catch the right side of the fairway. But the Tacoma driver coming in at £299, the 11 driver around about £250. But the drivers we're talking about today range between £289 and £389. And today, guys, we are talking about the German-based Weiss Golf. So a lot of people, you will know the splattered golf balls, you will know the luminous golf balls that we get from Weiss, and that's what you probably think, it's a ball company. But that's where you're wrong. So we do have a lot of things coming out from Weiss. We have a fantastic starter set, which you will have seen on our new beginner golf's journey. We did test that with him. We also then have just sets of irons, so different sets of irons. But today we're talking about the VGD01 and the VDG01 Plus. So not the easiest words to say, or not the easiest driver to name, but two different options, two different price points. One is aimed to be a rocket launcher, so something that's going to be for those better golfers, potentially lower spin, and we're going to go through the tech very shortly. And we know the other one's going to be for forgiveness, and again at a price point £289 here in the UK. For those beginner golfers getting into the game, it's not going to set you back £600. So straight away we've got good options from Weiss, a good price. But this is where I think a lot of people might be going, because we saw interestingly this year that Callaway, TaylorMade and Ping brought the prices down a little bit, so they realised that potentially they were outpricing a lot of golfers. Maybe a lot of more people were going second hand or waiting for last year's model to be reduced, and that's not going to help any business. But these drivers are just coming out at an affordable price. Let's put them to the test on the next tee. So let's have a look at some numbers with these drivers. So I'm going to start with the forgiving 289 VDG01. So the forgiving driver, exactly what we'd expect. Looks very similar from the top. So looks wise, they've kept it pretty uniform. We do have that alignment line on the top of the driver, and we also have an align at the bottom. So again, they're trying to be able to get you squaring that face up at setup, because how many times you see the kind of golfer that buys this club or this driver, the forgiving driver, might set up with a club face slightly open, might close it, but this is going to help you square that face up to start with, because if we can get you aligning the clubs better, we can figure out maybe what your club path is doing or what you're doing in your swing to help you better improve. But yes, it's forgiving, but could this one outperform that #1 ranked Tour Edge? I mean, straight away, incredibly easy to hit. It is draw biased. It has drawn just down the left hand side there, but it's running out a long way. And if we look at numbers, we are talking 265 carry running out to 285, so performing pretty well. And this is where, even from strike that was slightly toey, which would also encourage that draw, but it hasn't gone too far to the left, which is very interesting. Because a lot of people often fear that a draw bias driver is going to get a quick left straight away, but you've heard by the sound as well, titanium here, So it is a different sound, very much like the Shrixon that I've tested this year, which performed exceptionally well. But can this repeat? Let's see one more. And that is off the heel, very low, but it's launched bullet straight. It's down the middle of that fairway, and that's exactly what I'm wanting from a forgiving driver. A strike, the heel strike was just down here, a little bit lower on the face, but that's gone straight down the middle of the fairway. And if we look at numbers wise, you will see drop down to 260, but it still ran out to 280. So yes, 20 yards down on where I would expect. I'm not swinging at full speed by any means here on this cooler morning, but good numbers to start with. We're going to hit a few more shots with this on another tee and see if I can get it out there closer to that 300 number. But let's switch over. So let's go now into the Plus driver. So £100 more expensive. We know this is built for speed, this is low spin. One thing we need to talk about is, you'll see on screen now, there's a lot of adjustability in lie and loft of these clubs. So you can see we can certainly fine tune it. And with this driver, we still have that alignment aid on the top, but we have a lot of things going on this face to help us find that elusive middle. But how will it perform? Will it be easier to hit? You see, we've also got the Vibrant Vice golf shaft in here, so plenty of options. A little bit of a bulge on the top of this driver, which I will try and get a video of, because that's, again, they're trying to maximise speed here. They're trying to get as much speed into these golf clubs so they can compete. And for me, that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants speed and more distance, but does it sacrifice a little bit of consistency? So far there from the standard driver, or the cheaper driver, the £289 standard driver, incredibly consistent, 2 fairways out of 2 from 2 pretty poor strikes. So certainly a lower ball flight there, bullet straight. That was just off the toe, but it was closer to the centre, and numbers that launched lower, 270 carry, even with that lower launch, came off a little bit faster, and it has run out to 291. So certainly performing well. Let's go one more with this driver. Didn't feel as good, if I'm being honest. If I was thinking it was a blind test here, which one felt better, which one looks better behind the golf ball, I'd be favouring towards the standard version of this driver. I think there's a little bit more going on the face here. It just takes some getting used to. I do like the alignment aid, and the shapes aren't too different. So obviously between them, it's not a massive difference. It's very uniform, which I do like. Let's see, let's tee it up a little bit higher. Let's see if we can get some more launch out of this. Let's see if we can get close to that 280 yard carry. So better launch there. Certainly seems to be coming out of the air a little bit quicker. Although it has it there, it's carried past that 279 carry, going 298. So very interesting there. And spin is down on both of those. So spin wise, we were looking at low 2000s with the 2 from this Vice, and you'll see we found the elusive middle there with that last strike. So good numbers there, a little bit down on other drivers, but good distances from those. Again, still getting loose this morning, speed a little bit down, but performance doing well there. But the big thing for me, the standard driver did feel better, and to me, I'm used to that sound now with the Shrixon, so it did sound a little bit better to me. So be very interesting. Now I've hit a few more shots, can we get that going past the Plus version, or is it still coming that little bit behind with that higher spin and that more forgiveness for those golfers, exactly who it's designed for? Because again, remember guys, these are designed for different golfers. It depends where you hit the ball on the face and what you are trying to achieve. And that's something that you need to know. So do you have too much spin? Do you have not enough spin? Plenty of adjustability on these clubs, plenty of technology, and the price wise for me so far is fantastic. Those both end up in the fairway again, so that's 4 out of 4. So for accuracy wise, it's up there. I'd say maybe it's a little bit further than that Tour Edge that was ranked high for accuracy. We know that spit distance wasn't something that it was ranked highly in, but have both of those Vice drivers pipped it. You know, it's not a brand that I've tried before. They haven't really had many releases out in the club department. They are certainly growing, and there's certainly a brand that we will be testing with mid-handicap Dave. Dave will be testing these drivers very soon, guys. Get those comments below. Have you tested them? Would you consider Vice? Let's hit a few more and let's see which one out of the two comes out on the top for me. So next hole, let's see which is the best. I'm going to start with the VGD01 Plus. I've got it right there because I actually looked at the bottom of the driver. So let's see how far we are going to get this. So last hole, it certainly was a little bit better, but let's have a quick look at that bulge on the top of this driver. As you can see there, just a little ridge on the back of this driver. It goes all the way down the middle, and it's designed to create less drag. So both of these drivers are lightweight. They are designed for you to get more speed without having to try and wallop it or hit it harder. You're not actively trying to go, right, I need more speed. The design of these clubs is saying that it should get that. So everything that they have put into this driver at £389 should be able to generate you potentially a little bit more speed. We're yet to see that with the Golf Joy, especially with the distance. And we've got the carbon titanium mix, especially in the VGD01, the standard driver. I will get the names of these drivers eventually, but let's come up here first. So pushed a little bit to the right there, so it's bounced, was out of the middle. Numbers wise, it is saying 270 going 287, so not running out as far on this hole. Very interesting there that the spin still is down, so spin 2,163, so on the lower side, which is good for me. So this driver head is working, but a little bit out to the right. That's not in the fairway, that's not as accurate as the driver that's obviously very similar price in the Tour Edge. Let's go one more. Right, well, I have to say, not the best there. So again, strike wise, that's only carried 250 going 275, but it was very much an old Dave Harrison, because he doesn't hit it that way anymore. So strike wise there, it certainly feels a lot more solid off the face, if that's a feel, compared to the standard driver. But let's switch over. So in with this driver now, again, very similar. We know draw bias, so let's see if that does encourage it to go further left than we expect. I don't think it will. And behind the golf ball, it certainly doesn't sit close, because a lot of the times people say, oh well, it'll sit incredibly close if it's a draw bias. This looks very neutral. We know we can switch around with that hosel to get the exact flight and the exact shape that we want, because this could be a draw bias. We could change it on that system to maybe be a little bit more open if you was overdrawing it. This is where, for me, that you have to think, just because it's the cheaper driver, just because it's the more forgiving driver, it doesn't mean it's not for you. If you're a lower handicap golfer, if you're in the teens, if you're in single figures, you don't have to go straight to the low spin driver, because you might actually need more spin. So if you're somebody like that, you need more spin, you've got a slower club head speed maybe, this could be good for you. Even with a fast club head speed like myself, this could be the right driver out of the two. I might enjoy it a little bit more. And that's launched up the right, but drawing back, and that was incredibly toey again. But the sound, I'm not too worried about. I'm used to that sound. But I do like the feel off that face. Even off a toe strike there, it didn't feel obviously too bad. It was a shocking strike, to be honest. But I still got the launch, which is what this driver is designed to do. It did draw back. It's going to be in the right-hand rough, but it's not a lost ball. So again, you can see that strike is low and towards the toe. Right, one more. Let's send one down there. Numbers wise on that drive, it did still carry from that strike a little bit further, so the launch was up and we still got that out to 268 carry going to 2 87. So it's still done pretty well there for an off-centered strike. If I find the elusive middle with this driver, which is not the driver's fault obviously, I think this could compete. And that is out of the middle, drawing ever so slightly, 2 yards. We'd take that all day long, and that is a long drive. And right there, 282 carry, running out to 299. So not the elusive 300, but that's the forgiving driver. That's got out there when I finally find the middle. So you can see these drivers, incredibly well priced. I'd like to test that a little bit more. I might switch the shafts over in there because this was a little bit lighter, felt a little bit more under control. I'll probably do that when I test it with Dave. But price point, they can perform, they can hit fairways. Is it a brand new market? Is it a market you're interested in? Because these direct-to-consumer companies are certainly doing a fantastic job with driver, and it's the first Vice driver I have tested. Incredibly impressed. We will be testing this with Dave very soon. I'm probably going to switch these shafts over into that VGD01 Plus driver and see if I can sneak that up over 300 yards. It's certainly performed, it's certainly well priced, it's something for you to consider. Guys, if you're enjoying the content, smash that subscribe button. I'll see you very soon.